Burger Posty, hello, long time no see. How you doing? It's been a while. Okay, so the first story I'll be reading tonight is called The Happy Prince by Oscar by Oscar Wilde. High above the city, on a tall column, stood the statue of the Happy Prince. He was gilded all over with thin leaves of fine gold. For eyes, he had two bright sapphires, and a large red ruby glowed on his sword hilt. He was very much admired, indeed. He is as beautiful as a weathercock, remarked one of the town councillors, who wished to gain a reputation for having artistic taste. Not quite so useful, he added, fearing lest people should think him unpractical, which he really was not. Hello, Skyro. Welcome. Why can't you be like the Happy Prince? Asked a sensible mother of her little boy who was crying for the moon. The Happy Prince never dreams of crying for anything. I'm glad there is someone in the world who's quite happy, muttered a disappointed man as he gazed at the wonderful statue. He looks like an angel, said the charity children as they came out of the cathedral in their bright scarlet cloaks and their clean white pinafores? Oof, okay. How do you know? Said the math teacher. You have never seen one. Ah, but we have in our dreams, answered the children, and the math teacher frowned and looked very... Why? I don't like these pop-ups. It's kind of annoying. 1 second, sorry. Okay. And the mathematical teacher frowned and looked very serious, for he did not approve of the children dreaming. Not the pop-ups. Yeah, the pop-ups. We love those. Because sometimes the computer will just open up a file and I'm like, where did this come from? But okay. Okay, I can hear now. I wasn't able to hear till now my audio was being weird. Oh. It's okay. No worries. Hi, Stuffed Crust. Welcome. One night, there flew over the city a little swallow. His friends had gone away to Egypt for 6 weeks, but he had stayed behind, for he was in love with the most beautiful reed. He had met her early in the spring, and he was flying down the river after a big yellow moth, and had been so attracted by her slender waist that he had stopped to talk to her. Shall I love you? Said the swallow, who liked to come to the point at once, and the reed made him a low bow. Oof. Hello, Nico-sama. Welcome. So he flew round and round her, touching the water with his wings and making silver ripples. This was his courtship, and it lasted all through the summer. I've been good, thank you. How you doing? It is a ridiculous attachment, twittered the other swallows. She has no money and far too many relations. And indeed, the river was quite full of reeds. Then, when the autumn came, they all flew away. After they had gone, he felt lonely and began to tire of his lady love. She has no conversation, he said, and I am afraid that she is a kukwe. Kukwe? I give up. But she is also flirting with the wind, and certainly, whenever the wind blew, the reed made the most graceful curtsies. I admit that she is domestic, he continued, but I love traveling, and my wife, consequently, should love traveling also. Will you come away with me? He said finally to her. But the reed shook her head. She was so attached to her home. Thank you, much love, much love. You have been trifling with me, he cried. I am off to the pyramids. Goodbye. And he flew away. All day long he flew, and at night time he arrived at the city. Where shall I put up, he said. I hope the town has made preparations. Then he saw the statue on the tall column. I will put up here, he cried. It is a fine position with plenty of fresh air. I've been okay, just mad busy, working, getting my 2D model ready and streaming. Hey, gotta stay on the grind, that's what's up. Make sure you're taking time for yourself and resting, though. Don't get too caught up in all the work. So he alighted just between the feet of the happy prince. I have a golden bedroom, he said softly to himself as he looked around, and he prepared to go to sleep. Hi Jamie, welcome. But just as he was putting his head under his wing, a large drop of water fell on him. What a curious thing, he cried. There's not a single cloud in the sky. The stars are quite clear and bright, and yet it is raining. The climate in the north of Europe is really dreadful. The reed used to like the rain, but that was merely her selfishness. And then another drop fell. What is the use of a statue? I cannot keep the rain off, he said. I must look for a good chimney pot. And he, determined to fly away, said he. Oops, my bad. But before he had opened his wings, a third drop fell, and he looked up and saw... What did he see? The eyes of the happy prince were filled with tears, and tears were running down his golden cheeks. His face was so beautiful in the moonlight that the little swallow was filled with pity. Who are you? He said. I am the happy prince. Welcome, Misty. I'm just reading some bedtime stories right now. But I hope you're all doing well. I hope your Father's Day went good. Why are you weeping then? Asked the swallow. You have quite drenched me. When I was alive and had a human heart, answered the statue, I did not know what tears were, for I lived in the palace of sands, where sorrow is not allowed to enter. In the daytime, I played with my companions in the garden, and in the evening, I led the dance in the great hall. Round the garden ran a very lofty wall, but I never cared to ask what lay beyond it. Everything about me was so beautiful. My courtiers called me the Happy Prince, and happy indeed I was, if pleasure be happiness. So I lived, and so I died. And now that I am dead, they have set me up here so high that I can see all the ugliness and all the misery of my city. And though my heart is made of lead, yet I cannot choose but to weep. Welcome, double stuffed Oreo. What? Is he not solid gold? Said the swallow to himself. He was too polite to make any personal remarks out loud. Far away continued the statue in a low, musical voice. Far away, in a little street, there is a poorhouse. One of the windows is open, and through it, I can see a woman seated at a table. Her face is thin and worn, and she has coarse red hands, all prickled by the needle, for she is a seamstress. She is embroidering passion flowers on a satin gown for the loveliest of the Queen's maids of honor to wear at the next court ball. In a bed in the corner of her room, a little boy is lying ill. He has a fever and is asking for oranges. His mother has nothing to give him but river water, so he is crying. Swallow, swallow, little swallow, will you not bring her the ruby out of my sword hilt? My feet are fastened to this pedestal, and I cannot move. I am waited for in Egypt, said the swallow. My friends are flying up and down the Nile and talking to the large lotus flowers. Soon they will go to sleep in the tomb of the great king. The king is there himself, in his painted coffin. He is wrapped in yellow linen and embalmed with spices. Round his neck is a chain of pale green jade, and his hands are like withered leaves. Swallow, swallow, little swallow, said the prince, will you not stay with me for one night and be my messenger? The boy is so thirsty, and the mother is sad. I don't think I like boys, answered the swallow. Last summer, when I was staying on the river, there were two boys, rude boys, the miller's sons, who were always throwing stones at me. They never hit me, of course. We swallows fly far too well for that, and besides, I come of a family famous for its agility, but still, it was a mark of disrespect. But the happy prince looked so sad that the little swallow was sorry. It is very cold here, he said, but I will lay with you for one night and be your messenger. Thank you, little swallow, said the prince. So the swallow picked out the great ruby from the prince's sword and flew away with it in his beak over the roofs of the town. Little swallow Dahomey, yes, yes. He passed by the cathedral tower where the white marble angels were sculpted. He passed by the palace and heard the sound of dancing. A beautiful girl came out on the balcony with her lover. How wonderful the stars are, he said to her, and how wonderful is the power of love. Welcome, Pretty, welcome, welcome. Okay, there I am. I lost my place for a second. I hope my dress will be ready in time for the state ball, she answered. I have ordered passion flowers to be embroidered on it, but the seamstresses are so lazy. He passed over the river and saw the lanterns hanging to the mast of the ships. He passed over the ghetto and saw the old Jews bargaining with each other and weighing out money in copper scales. At last, he came to the poorhouse and looked in. The boy was tossing feverishly on his bed, and the mother had fallen asleep. She was so tired. In he hopped and laid the great ruby on the table beside the woman's thumb. Then he flew gently round the bed, fanning the boy's forehead with his wings. How cool I feel, said the boy. I must be getting better. And he sank into a delicious slumber. Then the swallow flew back to the happy prince and told him what he had done. It is curious, he remarks, but I feel quite warm now, although it is so cold. That is because you have done a good action, said the prince, and the little swallow began to think. And then he fell asleep. Thinking always made him sleepy. When day broke, he flew down the river and had a bath. "What a remarkable phenomenon," said the professor as he was passing over the bridge. "A swallow in winter." And he wrote a long letter about it to the local newspaper. Everyone quoted it. It was full of so many words that they could not understand. "Tonight I go to Egypt," said the swallow, and he was in high spirits at the prospect. He believed all the public monuments. He visited all my I'm so sorry. He visited all the public monuments and sat a long time on top of the church steeple. Wherever he went, the sparrows chirruped and said to each other, "What a distinguished stranger." So he enjoyed himself very much. When the moon rose, he flew back to the happy prince. "Have you any commissions for Egypt?" he cried. "I'm just starting." "Swallow, swallow, little swallow," said the prince, "will you not stay with me one night longer?" "I am waited for in Egypt," answered the swallow. "Tomorrow my friends will fly up to the second cataract. The river horse couches there among the I can't say that. And on a great granite throne sits the god Menon, I think. I could be wrong, but anyways. All night long, he watches the stars, and when the morning star shines, he utters one cry of joy, and then he is silent. At noon, the yellow lions come down to the water's edge to drink. They have eyes like green barrels, and their roar is louder than the roar of the cataract. "Swallow, swallow, little swallow," said the prince. "Far across the city, I see a young man in garret. He is leaning over a desk covered with papers, and in a tumbler by his side there is a bunch of withered violets." "Hi, Nate. Hi. His hair is brown and crisp, and his lips are red as a pomegranate, and he has large and dreamy eyes. He's trying to finish a play for the director of the theater." Hi in whispers. We quiet today, Nate. Oh, you guys are so silly. But he is too cold to write anymore. There is no fire in the grate, and hunger has made him faint. "I will wait with you one night longer," said the swallow, who really had a good heart. "Shall I take him another ruby?" "Alas, I have no ruby now," said the prince. "My eyes are all that I have left. They are made of rare sapphires, which were brought out of India 1,000 years ago. Pluck out one of them and take it to him. He will sell it to a jeweler and buy food and firewood and finish his play." "Dear prince," said the swallow, "I cannot do that." And he began to weep. "Swallow, swallow, oh please, little swallow," said the prince. "Do as I command you." So the swallow plucked out the prince's eye, and flew away to the student's home. It was easy enough to get in, as there was a hole in the roof. Through this he darted and came into the room. The young man had his head buried in his hands, so he did not hear the flutter of the bird's wings, and when he looked up, he found the beautiful sapphire lying on the withered violets. "I am beginning to be appreciated," he cried. This is from some great admirer. Now I can finish my play. He looked quite happy. The next day, the swallow flew down to the harbor. He sat on the mast of a large vessel and watched the sailors hauling big chests out of the hold with ropes. "Heave ahoy!" they shouted as each chest came up. "I'm going to Egypt," cried the swallow. But nobody minded, and when the moon rose, he flew back to the happy prince. "I've come to bid you goodbye," the swallow cried. "Swallow, swallow, little swallow," said the prince. "Will you not stay with me one night longer?" "It is winter," answered the swallow, "and the chill snow will soon be here. In Egypt the sun is warm on the green palm trees, and the crocodiles lie in the mud and look lazily about them." "Hi, Mr. Plant. Nice to see you again. Welcome, welcome." "My companions are building a nest in the temple of Baalbek, and the pink and white doves are watching them and cooing to each other. Dear Prince, I must leave you, but I will never forget you. And next spring, I will bring you back 2 beautiful jewels in place of those you have given away. The ruby shall be redder than a red rose, and the sapphire shall be as blue as the great sea." "In the square below," said the happy prince, "there stands a little match girl. She has let her matches fall in the gutter, and they are all spoiled. Her father will... That is very dark. Her father will punish her if she does not bring home some money, and she's crying. She has no shoes or stockings, and her little head is bare. Pluck out my other eye and give it to her, and her father will not punish her. I will stay with you one night longer," said the swallow, but I cannot pluck out your eye. You would be blind then." "Swallow, swallow, little swallow, do as I command you, please." So he plucked out the prince's other eye and darted down with it. He swooped past the match girl and slipped the jewel into the palm of her hand. "What a lovely bit of glass," cried the little girl, and she ran home laughing. Then the swallow came back to the prince. "You are blind now," he said, "so I will stay with you always." "No, little swallow," said the poor prince. "You must go away to Egypt." "I will stay with you always," said the little swallow, and he slept at the prince's feet. All the next day he sat on the prince's shoulder and told him stories of what he had seen in strange lands. He told him of red ibis who stand in long rows on the banks of the Nile and catch goldfish in their beaks. The Sphinx, who is as old as the world itself, that lives in the desert and knows everything. Of the merchants who walk slowly by the side of their camels and carry amber beads in their hands. Of the king of the mountains. Of the moon, who is as black as ebony and worships a large crystal. Of the great snake that sleeps in the palm tree and has 20 priests to feed it with monkey cakes. And of the pygmies who sail over a big lake on large flat leaves and are always at war with the butterflies. "Dear little swallow," said the prince, "you tell me of marvelous things, but more marvelous than anything is the suffering of men and women. There is no mystery so great as misery. Fly over my city, little swallow, and tell me what you see there. So the swallow flew over the great city and saw the rich making merry in their beautiful houses, while the beggars were sitting at the gates. He flew into dark lanes and saw the white faces of starving children looking out listlessly at the black streets. Under the archway of a bridge, two little boys were lying in one another's arms to try and keep themselves warm. "How hungry we are," they said. "You must not lie here," shouted the watchman, and they wandered out into the rain. Then he flew back and told the prince what he had seen. "I am covered with fine gold," said the prince. You must take it off leaf by leaf and give it to my poor." The living always think that gold can make them happy. Leaf after leaf of the fine gold the swallow picked off, till the happy prince looked quite dull and gray. Leaf after leaf he brought to the poor, and the children's faces grew rosier, and they laughed and played games in the street. "We have bread now," they cried. Then the snow came, and after the snow came the frost. The streets looked as if they were made of silver. They were so bright and glistening. Long icicles, like crystal daggers, hung down from the eaves of the houses. Everybody went about in furs, and the little boys wore scarlet caps and skated on the ice. The poor little swallow grew colder and colder, but would not leave the prince. He loved him too well. He picked up crumbs outside the baker's door when the baker was not looking and tried to keep himself warm by flapping his wings. But at last he knew that he was going to die. He had just the strength to fly up to the prince's shoulder once more. "Goodbye, dear prince," he muttered. "Will you let me kiss your hand?" "I am glad that you are going to Egypt at last, little swallow," said the prince. "You have stayed too long here." "What?" "But you must go, for I love you." "It is not to Egypt that I am going," said the swallow. "I am going to the house of death. Death is the brother of sleep, is he not?" And he kissed the happy prince and fell down dead at his feet. Dang, okay. At the moment, why are all the stories I read always end up being extremely dark? Are you good, Nate? It's just like, no matter how hard I try, I think I find a cute story and then bam. I'm just like, seriously? That's crazy, bruh. Right? And like, not even less than 0 seconds, bruh. Why they got to kill them? That's what I'm saying. These stories just troll everyone. It's so nice and wholesome until they listen. I'm not a murderer. It was an accident. I didn't mean to. I was like 15, okay? You can't get mad at a child. At that moment, a curious crack sounded inside the statue, as if something had broken. The fact is that the leaden heart had snapped right in two. It certainly was a dreadful hard frost. Yeah, the sea folk who gave her the pendant. Exactly, it's their fault. They should know better than to give a child that much power. Early the next morning, the mayor was walking in the square below in company with the town councilors. As they passed the column, he looked up at the statue. "Dear me, how shabby the Happy Prince looks," he said. "How shabby indeed," cried the town councilors, who always agreed with the mayor, and they went up to look at it. "The ruby has fallen out of his sword, his eyes are gone, and he is golden no longer," said the mayor. "He is a little better than a beggar. Little better than a beggar," said the town councilors. "And here's actually a dead bird at his feet," continued the mayor. "We must really issue a proclamation that birds are not allowed to die here." And the town clerk made a note of that suggestion. So they pulled down the statue of the Happy Prince. As he is no longer beautiful, he is no longer useful. "That is bruh," said the art professor at the university. Then they melted the statue in a furnace, and the mayor held a meeting of the corporation to decide what to be done with the metal. "We must have another statue, of course," he said, "and it shall be a statue of myself." "Of myself," said each of the town councilors, and they quarreled. When I last heard of them, they were quarreling still. "What a strange thing," said the overseer of the workmen at the foundry. "The broken lead heart will not melt in the furnace. We must throw it away." "Is this a Genshin ad?" "Oh, no, it's not a Genshin ad." Genshin theme intensifies. Low key. "Bring me the two most precious things in the city." "Bring me the two most precious things in the city," said God to one of his angels. And the angel brought him the leaden heart and the dead swallow. "You have rightly chosen," said God, "for in my garden of paradise this little bird shall sing forevermore. Oh my gosh, forevermore. And in my city of gold, the Happy Prince shall praise me." The end. That story was sad. Why do they always make them sad? Hello, Rita. Welcome, welcome. Long time no see. I hope you're doing well. That's what I'm saying. I don't understand why it's always sad. But I mean, I guess this is a good song to end the what's it called? To end I thought they were supposed to be happy. I did too. I thought that the prince was gonna like come back to life or something, and then was gonna keep the swallow as like a pet or something and take care of it, and then take over the kingdom and restore peace and wealth and whatever. But no, it ended in death. What? I don't understand. The kind of day in which I dreamed of since I was small. Sleep like you're rocked by the stream. Sleep and remember my lullaby. I'll be with you when you dream. Drift on a river that flows through my arms. Drift as I'm singing to you. I see you smiling, so peaceful and calm. And holding you, I'm smiling too. In my arms. My baby, we still love, don't cry. Sleep like you're rocked by the stream. Sleep and remember this river lullaby, and I'll be with you I'll be with you when you dream. Bruh, stop it. Stop it. Okay, anyways. You didn't hear that. But what did you guys think about that story? Sad, right? I think I said that already, but I was low key a little confused at one point because it kept jumping all over the place, but I hope you guys understood it enough. Yeah. Okay. Pink pen light. Thank you. Who hurt these fairy tale writers? That they're always so that's what I'm saying. I don't understand. I guess William Shakespeare set the stage for that. So I guess yeah, it's William Shakespeare's fault, okay? Up is so sad. Makes me cry all the time. Okay. Let's see. Up theme intensifies. yes. Up team. Up team. Up theme intensifies. Alrighty. This next story is called Lost and Found. On my last shift as it's the S's. It's the S's that always get me. We learned that from that tongue twister stream. Okay. On my last shift as a lighthouse keeper, I climbed the 26 spiral iron stairs and 2 ladders to the watchroom. The number of steps the same as my age. The thwomp and snare of each step laid an ominous background score. Something wasn't right. At that very moment, Richie was pointing a fire extinguisher at the burning electrical panel in the engine room of his boat a few miles offshore. The placard in the watchroom read, "Marge Mabrity, Lightkeeper, first lighted the depths on March 2nd, 1985, and hasn't missed a night." Already so close to 40 years, I could still read the skies like a book. The lighthouse smelled of aging wood, dried out moss, and the bitter acid spritz of corrosion. But out on the gallery deck, leaning against the handrails, there was an unmistakable scent. The clouds in the distance grew taller, black shading growing across their swelling bellies, with the storm caps flattening under the weight of the system. I tasted the metallic hint of the ozone on my tongue. I felt the intensity of the pressure in my ears and on my forehead. I know what you're thinking. Why have I done it? For all those years. I guess finding lost things was always the one thing about me that was uniquely my own. And I didn't know if I could give it up. A few miles back, towards the mainland, Cappy patrolled the Long Island ports and seaways on his tug, waiting for salvage and rescue calls. There were still enough of them to get by, especially with these yahoos taking boating. But the seas were not what they used to be, and Cappy barely eked out a life of sustenance back on land. Lone rangers like us were going extinct in the world. It was a world of gadgets now, but it turned out our kind was more needed than ever when the gadgets failed. The three of us in our solitary orbits were bound on an intersecting course. How many things had I retried from retired? Oh, okay. Anyways, how many things have I retired from in a lifetime of retirements? However many it was, this one felt different. A transplant from Norway, full of Viking blood. I'd had a brief career on the national downhill skiing circuit. I'd hung that up for university. Then I'd hung up the mantle of a student for a job in forestry. Quit that to start a family. Then transient period that seemed never ending before the kids left home turned out not to be. My marriage ended too, and on and on. Dang. Broski. You good, my guy. Give yourself a break. But the longest stint was my 40 years as the lighthouse keeper. It was to be a It was to be a celebratory night. Still, it felt wrong. Even if I was pushing 80, who was I to buy into this twaddle about graceful exits and diminished capacity? My thoughts were disturbed by a call on the radio. Channel 19. It was Cappy. I didn't want a mayday call. Not tonight. How long is this? This is probably going to be the last story I read today. Stream's gonna be a little short, but nonetheless, I hope you enjoyed the stories anyways. Connection cut, I'm back. Oh, welcome back. Richie was lost at sea, as lost as can be. as lost as lost can be. The fire in the engine room had only taken minutes to put out, but the electrical lines were irreparably damaged. Hours later, when the last of the juice in the ship's backup batteries ran out, Richie watched as the monitors with the electronic ocean maps and satellite-supported GPS positioning flickered and went black. Richie might as well have been surveying the moon. He had no idea of his location. It's odd how easily we take for granted that we know where we are, never realizing how often we are hopelessly lost and don't even know it. Night navigation is a real son of a beep. A swabby mug, untrained in navigation, would be facing long odds of surviving such a calamity. And on the spectrum of swabby mugs, Richie wasn't even at the top of the class. But how did Richie get here? Hello Cedric, welcome. This is the last story of the night. But I hope you're doing well. I hope your guys' Father's Day went good. A few months back, Richie had bought a custom Sea Ray Sundancer 370 when he was promoted. Of course, he couldn't afford the new model. He settled for a year-old model with the same look and feel, but which had been heavily used and abused by the prior owner, who was a real boater. But no bother, it was his prized possession. Richie hadn't accounted for the cost of marina dues and other ancillary costs. Oof. With the hefty loan he'd taken on the boat, he lacked the funds for all the accoutrements of the boating life. Things both expensive and confusing for the uninitiated seaman. These turned out to be necessary. Richie had skimped on maintenance and hired an inexperienced handyman named Louis, who was known around the marina as Louis the Wrench, to help with keeping the vessel seaworthy. A gamble that failed. Louis spent a lot more time on the phone with his Pookie than with his wrench in his hand, so homeboy was sitting there slacking on the job talking to his girl, bruh. That's crazy. The sun lounge and dining area in the hollowed out front hall was what first had sold him. Richie had imagined spending long romantic weekends with Renee. From the spring to the fall, jaunting from marina to marina, exploring the New England coast, enjoying white wine or a martini together in the sun lounge at sundown over a decadent charcuterie board and raw seafood on ice. Anyways, by Richie's calculations, this routine would somehow make up for his soulless existence, earning obscene, but still inadequate to the expected lifestyle wages, spending all his daylight hours keeping his employer out of hot water by enforcing labyrinthine government regulations. What? Effective only in the Great Lakes his employer was willing to go through, and the great cost his employer was willing to expend to completely avoid the salutary remedial purposes remedial purposes the regulations stood for in the first place. Renee didn't care about the predatory nature of the enterprise or how monotonous and unsexy the work was, but the fact that Richie was not the top dog, not by a long shot, and there was little hope of improvement there. 5 years for a promotion of title with a raise in bonus but not base pay? Renee knew what that meant. Long before Richie did. Renee was not an adventurer, she was a social climber. Replacement Richie had a proper yacht, a newer model Mercedes, and a pricier high-rise condo. He ran condominium? I don't know. He ran his own company doing something that sounded borderline illegal, dang, okay. And let's be honest, probably was. He cheated on his taxes. Don't listen to this story. Don't do anything that they're saying, okay? Okay. Replacement Richie wasn't apologizing for it either. It was a kick. He took what he wanted. What? Dang, okay. Homeboy ain't that's not good. Renee spent the weekends with replacement Richie and her exchangeable NPC girlfriends, sunbathing on the deck of replacement Richie's yacht, surrounded by a display of designer bags and branded bathing suit pullovers and slides. The yacht stayed permanently moored at the Star Island Yacht Club and Marina, more prestigious than Richie's Jersey City Marina. The yacht was used exclusively for marina clout and cocktail combos. It never once saw the open seas, all spring and summer. But everyone had a fabulous time of it and didn't seem bothered at all. Renee's Instagram post of her engagement ring anchoring her fates to replacement Richie. The fact that they called this dude replacement Richie is crazy. Like, homeboy don't even get a name, just replacement Richie. NPC girlfriend Vic was sure to comment first for everyone's knowledge that it was in fact a 4.5 carat round diamond with the perfect colorless grade. The NPCs knew on sight, like puppies who can sense one of their litter about to be adopted. It took Richie longer to find out. It was a $250,000 ring. Oh my gosh, that's a lot of money. You know how good of a VTuber model I could get with that kind of money? Bro. There's this one artist that I want to commission so bad, but his models are like thousands of dollars, I think. And I'm like, ah. Well, I low-key want to do it. Low-key, so I can have more jiggle physics. Wait, like wiggle, jiggle, so the movements can look more realistic. That's what I'm trying to say. Anyways, hush. You didn't hear me say any of that. In one moment, jiggle, yes, jiggle, jiggle. I don't know. I can appreciate realism, right? Because right now I look like a paper doll, bro. I ain't complaining though. I need to be quiet. I need to count my blessings. Let me stop. Okay, I'm kidding. I'll keep reading now. There's never a stream where I don't ramble. I apologize. In one moment, Richie knew for certain that this romance would have no second act. He did the only thing that made sense at the time. He took to the open seas, alone, without telling anyone. Richie sat out in the sun lounge alone, in the darkness, trying to gain enough night vision to make out the landmark in the fog of dark. Richie had made all the rookie boating mistakes. The first rule of boat safety is not to go out alone. Chart a course, tell a friend. Most people who get lost at sea stay lost. That is true on land as well. Despite getting his boating license, Richie skipped on water training. The list went on and on. Hello, Alex. Welcome. Perhaps worst of all, Richie couldn't tell land-based lights from navigation lights from buoys and markers. He'd spent the last 2 hours heading out to sea and nearly scraping the side of a 3-meter tall red ocean buoy that towered over the deck of his humble cruiser. Dang, that's terrible. And that was when he panicked and started firing off his flares. "How's my best girl tonight?" Cappy asked. "Don't be fresh with me, you old rake." "You mean with it being my last night?" "Ah, fiddlesticks. Last night, my booty cheek. We both know you are gonna be buried on that rock, and me with you." As romantic... Oh no, not Cappy. "As romantic as that is, I like a nice dinner and some wine before committing to a joint burial." Well, well, you little siren, whetting my appetite. Marge, you're gonna love this one. What is it, Cappy? "I've been turned in on Channel 19 for the last ducking hour." Cappy chuckled. His voice rattled, a deep raspy bass that hit like a fine brass-colored scotch. It intoxicated my senses and warmed my chest off the first sip. Ooh, it sang a lifetime of hard songs, but the calloused old heart was in there. He was old salt, everything you imagined a seaman to be. Gray beard, sun-scorched skin, and a temperament enough to match the open seas. In his mid-70s, Cappy was still fit and lean, but a little tired of a lifetime of wandering. "Sounds delightful," I said. "Did they locate your chivalry and manners, or have those gone away with gone the way of Davy Jones too?" Oh, I'm dying. Anyways, get this, some clues. Your pro has been singing an off-key Rihanna playlist. Rihanna all the way through, non-stop, not realizing his radio line is open. Must have pushed the microphone button into something. The radio went dark after sundown. God help us. "You see that black squall coming in from the west? Well, this Yo-Pro, let's call him Chadwick. Well, Chadwick here, he has been headed east out into the open seas, and he's going to get clipped by that cell shredder on his way back to port, if he even knows enough to head back to port. Coast Guard has been trying to reach him with no response." Oops, this is a pretty long story. Dang, I'm not even halfway through it. I could hear it in his voice. Cappy's full name was Jack Tommy Rogers, and Cappy was always into a bottle of his namesake. Cappy only had a few rules. One was that he'd never touch the bottle until he'd finish his calls. Someone could lose their life if he broke that rule, like he'd done tonight. Something serious was going on with Cappy. "How are the seas tonight?" I asked. "Seas are building. We are just chugging along on the gasoline breeze out here, waiting for our damsel in distress to call for a knight in shining armor on his noble stallion, or in this case, 100-year-old tugger." "Oh, Cappy, I don't know. I didn't know it was your 100th birthday today. Happy birthday." "Touché," he said. 100 years old? What? That's wild. Cthulhu, is that what he called his tugboat? I asked once. I regretted it. To this day, something about how his straight lines were like the tentacles of some weird octopus god. She's all buttoned up, tight as a button, and I'm getting a bit high off these diesel fumes. It was more than diesel that Cappy was high on. I imagined Cappy out there. "Be careful to avoid the reef, old man. I can see him threading through tankers, cutters, and cruise ships like floating cities. I worry about Cappy. And that night, I wanted to tell him how I felt, but I tried to restrain myself. It was a big night, no sense in complicating it. I was afraid this was going to be a Mayday call, I said. Then it occurred to me that maybe it was one. It was a moonless night. Richie couldn't tell the sea from the sky. It was so dark that all that was visible was the wake of the ship, drawing a white foam trail through the otherwise black void. Welcome in, Blue Phonics. How you doing? Hi. I'm just reading stories at the moment. Oh, thank you so much, Skyro. Much love. There is that verse in Revelations where the heavens and earth pass away, and there is no longer any sea. Richie didn't believe in that kind of thing, but it had happened. All that was left was infinite negative space. Hello, Crafty. Welcome. Just reading stories at the moment. But how you doing? Richie's skin crawled, and his forehead dampened. The night was muggy, and an invisible cooling mist enveloped the cruiser. The only sounds were lapping waves, and the only smell was a briny whiff of sea foam. How lost are you when you have lost your bearings and don't know the distance to any safe harbor? Richie had not considered this before. The darkness is impartial, absolute, unforgiving, but in its grip, you felt that its horrors were custom-tailored, handcrafted, and made to measure, just for you. Richie sure felt that way. There was that foreboding, ominous sense that the evils at play, which seemed resolved to engineer your demise, are the earned wages for some sin, the gravity of which you failed to appreciate, whose wrath was stirred by your trespasses. God, nature, some malignant spirit of vengeance? What evil deed tipped the scales to a sentence of death? Those were Richie's thoughts. The gas gauge became an instrument of terror. Richie cruised his reckless disregard. Why didn't he pack extra canned goods and 5 more reserve 5-liter fuel cans? How could he have been so arrogant, so foolish? And then the rain started to fall, like icy darts from the heavens. Marge to Cappy, where are you? Headed out to sea. What? Chadwick isn't going to save himself. Cappy, you old fool, it isn't safe. Don't get sentimental on me now, you old cow. I've got a job to do. Stay safe out there, will you? Cappy barked like a dog. And that's all I needed to hear. No one was coming to save him. That was Richie's last thought before firing off his last flare. He pulled out a pack of Marlboro Reds and lit one up. Richie smoked on the sun lounge and thought about his life, which might be coming to an end. He judged his life poorly. He hadn't lived it. He'd bought the marketing in the pamphlet, but hadn't pursued the dream of the pamphlet. The dream the pamphlet was selling, and now it was too late. For the first time in years, Richie felt reinvigorated, clear, awakened, and alive. Cappy's tugger was at full tilt, boat jumping the waves. The gales of the squall buffeted the front visor and tossed the ship among the crest, pushing it off course, making it hard to keep a broad breach and hit the waves at a clean 45 degrees to avoid the worst of the punch of the storm. Cappy located Richie's cruiser and then reached it. He took out a bullhorn and tried to tell Richie he was there, but the winds were like a dark room for sound, and Richie had no idea Cappy was out there. Cappy pulled up and started setting the straight wires, attaching them to the stern of Richie's cruiser. After a while, Richie came out and realized what was happening. He stood there holding tight to the table in the galley as the cruiser bobbed in the wake. After the winch brought the ships together, Cappy came aboard. "What are you doing out here, son?" "Long story. Can you get me back to shore?" "Can I?" "Will do is more like it. First, let's check the vessel." While Cappy was on the galley inspecting the cruiser, a sadistic gust rocked the boat, and Cappy tumbled over the safety pole. Richie looked down and saw he had grabbed the ropes along the trim and molding and was rocking with the boat, his legs gusting in the winds. "Get the lines from the capstan on my boat. Get it to me." "The what?" "The circular thing with the ropes." In seconds, Richie was back with the rope. Cappy clutched it and climbed back aboard. He slumped on deck, breathing heavily. "Not bad, son. You've graduated from greenhorn to seaman tonight. Congratulations. Now let's get you back to shore." Cthulhu and bound, Cappy called back to me. "Thank God," I said. "Chadwick's name is Richie. Works in finance. Heartbroken greenhorn. Can't make this up." "Do you see the beacon?" Like I need a beacon to get me back to you. "You old salty dog. The kids told me he's leaving finance. Might move to Montauk. Said the sea is calling." "God help us. So are you following through on this thing?" "I'm an old woman, Jack." "We could do it together." "Give me a break. I'll spend nights up there with you. Patrol days." "Don't tease me." "I'm serious, Marge. I'll be back in half an hour. Once the emergency folks take Chadwick here to the hospital, I say we have that dinner and those drinks. We've known each other 30 years. You want to wait for 40? I just nothing, Marge. I almost died tonight." "What?" "My last thought was that I almost let you retire." "You almost died?" "I'll be back in half an hour, and I'm coming up there, invited or not, so get yourself ready." "You are not retiring." "That's also not negotiable, Marge. Not up for a discussion." Where has this Cappy been all my life? Lost at sea, I guess. But I'm coming ashore. I'm a modest woman, so I won't tell you how it all turned out. Bro, you literally just told us. Okay, so let's just say it's hard to refuse an old salty dog that won't take no for an answer. Dang. Okay. Well, Cappy's got a lady now. Oh, this one was kind of happy. This one was happy. It started out bad, and then it got happy. But based silver fox, and then it got happy. But yeah, most of the stories I read always end up having some type of sad or hardship in it, and I'm just like, why? I try so hard to find stories that are like lighthearted and sweet, but I can't. All right. Let's see. Hello, Alex. Welcome back. I was just about to sing the outro song. If I can find one that's the right version. Pink pen light. Thank you, thank you. Choose a number, 1 or 2. Two. Okay. Okay. Thank you. It helped me make a decision. Me too. One second. Gotta find the lyrics. Because this one doesn't have any. Okay. Fate has been cruel and order unkind when I have sent you away. The blame was my own, the punishment yours. Are many silent today? Into the stillness I'll bring you a song. I will your company keep till your tired eyes and my lullabies read you softly to sleep. Once did a pony who shone like the sun look out on her kingdom and sigh. She smiled and said, surely there is no pony as lovely and so well beloved as I. So great was her reign, so brilliant her glory, and long was the shadow she cast, which fell dark upon the young sister she loved, and grew only darker as days and nights passed. Soon did that pony take notice that others did not give her sister her due, and neither had she loved her as she deserved. She watched as her sister's unhappiness grew. But such is the way of time, light it sweetly takes hold of the mind of its host. And that foolish pony did nothing to stop the destruction of one who had needed her most. Good night, sister mine, and rest now in moonlight's embrace. Bear up my lullaby, winds of the earth, through cloud and through sky and through space. Carry my sorrow in kind. Luna, you loved so much more than you know. May troubles be far from your mind, and forgive me for being so blind. The years now, oops, years now before us, fearful and unknown. I never imagined I'd face them on my own. May these thousand winters swiftly pass, I pray. I love you, I miss you, all these miles away. May all your dreams sweet tonight, save your bed of moonlight. No, not of sadness, pain or care. When I dream I'll fly away, meet you there, sleep, 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 sleep. This is a little long, the instrumental at least, but I hope you guys enjoyed yourselves, and thank you for coming to stream tonight. Oh, pink pen night, hard eyes, blah blah. Thank you, clippity clappers. Thank you so much. Tomorrow I will be putting out the schedule around 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, so just be on the lookout for that. And thank you for coming. I hope you guys enjoyed the stories. Thanks for another amazing stream, Mel. It was so cozy, even when the stories took crazy turns. Yeah, it really did. Thank you for the comedy stream today. Oh, I'm glad you liked the stories. But I'll see you guys next stream. Thank you for coming, and have a good rest of your night or day. And drink water. Don't forget to drink water, or Caspian will come for you. I'm telling you. He'll drink water, eat, and rest. Yes. Take care of yourselves. Be happy. Anywho, tell your dads I said Happy Father's Day, and yes, enjoy the rest of your day or night, and then I'll see you guys next stream. Thank you for coming. Bye bye.